So I'll be honest, I'm still sick, but we've got to talk about this. Chloe Chambers is representing the Haas Formula One team in F1 Academy and will take the series by storm. Oh, you want to talk about Hamilton and Ferrari instead? Provided this is true, and let me be clear, at time of recording, we've still had no official word from Hamilton, Ferrari or Mercedes, February 1st, 2024 will still go down in history as one of the most significant days in Formula One's history. In case you somehow aren't aware, early this morning reports started to emerge that Lewis Hamilton had signed up with Ferrari for the 2025 season. This is nothing new. We'd had murmurings of the 7-time champion making the switch every other year for the last decade, and I'll be honest, when I initially caught wind of this, I did what I'm sure many of you did, scrolling along and continuing my monotonous and frankly pointless existence. The timing didn't make sense anyway. Hamilton had signed a 2-year deal a mere 6 months ago, at the time claiming that he planned on rounding out his career with the Silver Arrows, claims that we can now attribute as f***ing lies. As the day rolled on, more and more reports emerged, and for once it wasn't just the Italian media getting high on prancing horse ketamine. Now we've got the likes of Autosports, the BBC, WTF 1.3 and so on throwing out headlines, and now this is starting to feel a whole lot more real. Yet despite that, the timing still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Driver news prior to the start of a season is nothing new. Just look at 2020 for example. But we've now got a very awkward year ahead for both the Ferrari and Mercedes camps. For one, you've got Mercedes posting captions on Twitter such as "can't touch this," well apparently Ferrari can, and we're just 2 weeks away from the Silver Arrows launch for 2024, where Hamilton will have to stand up and explain how much faith he has in the team, when he clearly has none as he's f***ing off at the end of the year. There's a hell of a lot to break down here, and while we'll get into Hamilton's rationale and questionable mental state surrounding this move later, can we just take a moment to feel for poor Carlos Sainz? While Leclerc did suffer from a lot of Ferrari-isms in 2023, Sainz really shone as the Ferrari driver who could deliver on race day. He of course took the team's only victory of the year in Singapore, and when you consider what he was playing at throughout most of 2022, last season was a massive and underappreciated step up for the lad. Team boss Fred Vasseur sure seemed to be one of the only ones to pick this up, claiming he wanted both Leclerc and Sainz locked down before the SF24 hit the track in testing, claims that we can now also attribute as lies. Now let's be honest, any team in Ferrari's situation would snap up the opportunity to snag Lewis without a second moment's thought. In the long run though, is it really the best move for the team right now? In Sainz and Leclerc, the Scuderia had arguably one of the strongest partnerships on the grid, and one that could realistically have continued for many more years to come. Hamilton, however, whilst driving well at the moment, is in the twilight years of his career, and I appreciate I've just alienated the group of 5-year-olds drooling over his every word, but the guy's 39 and since 2021 has looked more like he wants to throw himself under that Mercedes car rather than in it. The Sainz-Leclerc pairing also thrived in being one of the more amicable despite both drivers having the potential to win races in 2023. Hamilton-Leclerc matchup on the other hand risks another teammate fallout like we've seen in the past with Rosberg and Alonso. Charles technically controls the team and is Ferrari's clear poster boy for the future. But Hamilton isn't just going to walk in there and be content with being Leclerc's Bottas for a couple of years. I find myself questioning Ferrari's judgment at the best of times. Add this into the mix, and I think poor Xavi's head might explode. We've spoken quite thoroughly about the losers then, so who actually wins here? Well, firstly, as fans, we definitely do. The prospect of a Hamilton-Ferrari team-up always appeared to be a bit of a wet dream. Now, #blessed in red looks like a real possibility, while the ripples this will have across the rest of the grid will play several storylines in a paddock which over the last few months has been rather on the stale side. The other winner is, well, Lewis Hamilton. Over the last few weeks, it's become clear that his confidence in the Mercedes team maybe isn't quite as hot as what the Silver Arrows like to place in their PR posts. I mean, just go back to literally a few days ago where they showed an image of Hamilton in the new W15, and he looked as if someone had just curb-stomped Roscoe and broken the news using the poor thing's head as a mouthpiece. While Ferrari haven't been able to take the fight to Red Bull in the last 2 seasons, a third and presumably 4th year of stable regulations in 2025 will bring the teams much closer together. While both Ferrari and Mercedes will benefit from this, the Silver Arrows have been playing catch-up since some boffin in their design office got at the car with a hacksaw in 2022. And the cost cap regulations means bridging the gap to the front runners is a lot harder than it was just a few years ago. Hamilton no doubt sees parallels now to his last few years with McLaren over 10 years ago. He jumped ship at the right time back then, just before they fell off a cliff, and arguably are only just recovering. Lewis, as I said, now has to consider if he can really wait around much longer if he wants to be in a competitive car before time runs out on his career. And with the door to Red Bull firmly shut, Ferrari presents, and I can't believe I'm actually about to say this, the most safe option. Wow. So, do I really think he'll be competitive? Well, honestly, it's difficult to say. We've seen very recently how much a car can impact a driver's ability to perform on the racetrack, and for the first time in a long while, Hamilton won't have as much power when it comes to the direction that Ferrari take with the car. 7-time champion or not, you're going to back the guy who's in it with you for the long haul, not the aging veteran who you'll just chuck into an F1-shaped care home in a few years. Any decision for Lewis is a big risk at this stage. However, I'm willing to bet the overall appeal of ending his career with such a prestigious outfit like Ferrari was just too good to turn down. All that brings us back to Mercedes then. What exactly do they do now? Well, when it comes to drivers, I'm sure there will be a queue of talent stretching far and wide, hoping to have a chat with Toto Wolff. But this is someone who needs to fill the shoes of a certain Lewis Hamilton, and that narrows down the pool of options significantly. On the bright side, Brackley still employ the services of George Russell. Until tomorrow, when if news continues to drop like this, he'll be announced as returning to his roots in the World Karting Championship or something. Jokes aside, George is experienced enough now to lead the team into the future. But who can Mercedes rely on in that second seat? Well, the obvious name to throw into the mix would be a recently job centre bound Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard, as I said earlier, is coming off the back of a stellar season in 2023 and could probably fit quite nicely into the Mercedes fold, in what would turn out to be a straight swap between the Silver Arrows and Maranello. But I just can't see it, and the only thing getting in the way is Sainz's strong ties to fellow German car maker Audi. It seems far more likely that he'll end up joining the Stake F1 fold and become a glorified meme 1 year earlier than planned. The other name I've seen floating around is Fernando Alonso, because when there's driver transfer drama, he can't not be involved. The Spaniard has reportedly already held talks with Toto Wolff, and while I'd love to see it happen, it just wouldn't be the long-term solution that I think Mercedes is looking for right now. Pierre Gasly would fit into that job description and has been linked with a Mercedes outfit before. With Alpine looking to continue to be French in 2024, a swap to silver would be a huge step up in the pecking order. Gasly also has top team experience, albeit not a great experience with Red Bull in 2019, so it wouldn't be totally unfamiliar territory for the Frenchman. But if I had to predict, and God help this driver given how most of my predictions tend to age, I would be placing my money on Alex Albon as Hamilton's successor in 2025. Albon, like Gasly, has top team experience, but unlike Gasly, made us aware of his presence in 2023. The Thai driver has flourished since returning to F1 a couple of years ago with Williams, and while his Red Bull form wasn't viewed too favourably in 2020, the perception of that year has shifted significantly in more recent times. You've got Sergio Perez to thank for that one. Albon will get on well with George Russell and is of course also employed by James Vowles, an ex-Mercedes man with strong links back to his old team, and most importantly Toto Wolff. I'm sure if Mercedes wanted Albon's services, an engine deal could be put in place to get that over the line, meaning both parties get to walk away happy and Logan Sargent might just be safe for another year. Actually, I still doubt that. Whatever happens, this move is going to send shockwaves all around the sport, provided of course it actually happens. I mean, can you imagine if Hamilton now reveals he'd been trolling everyone? It would be a decent play, I won't lie. I'm curious on your thoughts on all this though, so do let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to get in on the debate down there as well. Can I also just take the time to apologise for my inactivity over the last month or so? As you can probably hear, I'm still not quite back to 100% and have a lot of catching up to do. But I'm aiming to be back in the steady rhythm by the time the comedy reviews start returning in a few weeks' time. So bear with me, I'll soon be back. Thanks to all of you though, and my channel members and patrons in particular, for supporting me through all this. If you want to get involved in that, then you can head down to the links in the description below. But I'll be back at some point anyway with another video. So until then, have a good one.